Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question concerns one of the craziest decks in Legacy, that being the Leylines deck. Now, if you've never seen this before, the general idea is you play a bunch of these Leylines and some other cheap enchantments, and the goal is to use those in conjunction with a Serra's Sanctum to power out an early Opalescence. After that, you would be able to attack with all your Leylines and hopefully win the game that way. Now, if you have a deck like this, it has the potential to be super explosive. In fact, if you had the magical Christmas Land Dream scenario, you would even be able to use the Serra's Sanctum to get that Opalescence in play as early as your first turn. So that's the question we'll be talking about in today's episode. If you were able to pull this off, would you be able to attack with your Leylines or not? Okay, so at first this question seems like it might require some really specific high-level rules knowledge or some really niche corner case rule in order to figure out what the right answer is. However, as we'll see, that's actually not the case at all, and it turns out to be a lot more straightforward than most people might think at a first glance. So if we take a look at this, which is the Summoning Sickness rule, we'll notice that it says that you have to control the creature continuously since the start of your turn. Now, that means right away that we can say that if you were going second and you pulled this trick off, you would definitely be in the clear. That's because the Summoning Sickness rule does not require that the permanent in question has to be a creature for the entire time that you controlled it. Rather, it just says you have to control it since the start of your turn. The fact that it became a creature partway through your turn is not a problem at all. So that only leaves open the question of whether you would be able to attack with these Leylines if you were on the play. And in order to answer that, we're going to need to take a look at another part of the CR, which is the part where it defines the pre-game procedures. And I said that very carefully because the part where you put Leylines from your opening hand onto the battlefield is actually part of the pre-game procedures. In other words, pre-game meaning before the game. That is, before either player has taken a turn. So yes, indeed, the Leylines are going to be on the battlefield at a time before any player in the game has taken a turn, and that means that even if you were on the play, you will have controlled those Leylines continuously since the start of your turn as required. So you would be able to attack with them on your first turn, whether you're on the play or on the draw. Now this is a really cool ruling and all, but it might seem like it's kind of a corner case thing that doesn't really come up at all. However, there is actually one other situation I was able to think of where this ruling does come up. That would be if you used Karn Liberated's ultimate to restart the game. As you can see, we have the exact same sort of situation happening here. The creatures get left in exile, and then they're put onto the battlefield before any player takes their first turn in the restarted game. Accordingly, that means that if you had a Karn and you exiled some creatures with it and you restarted the game, that would mean that you will have controlled those creatures continuously since the start of your first turn. And that means that you would be able to attack with those creatures on your first turn. Oh, by the way, fun fact, if you restart the game, that means that you're the player who gets to go first in the restarted game. So that means you wouldn't even have to worry about any pesky blockers getting in your way when you attack with them. Pretty great trick, right? But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. But until then, I hope you have a great day.